human resources, human capital, people and culture. This single vocation has many names. HR professionals are responsible for what is arguably the most critical success factor within any organization. It's talent. HR Studio Podcast brings you interviews from HR and industry thought leaders so you can listen, learn and leverage. Welcome to HR Studio Podcast, building the next generation of HR leaders. HR Studio is brought to you by AJ O'Connor Associates. To learn more about our sponsor, please visit ajoconnor.com and be sure to check out the AJO blog for additional HR learning tools and resources.
Welcome everyone to HR Studio. My name is Linda Hlavik and I'll be your host. Our topic today is company culture and how getting it right can lead to extraordinary benefits for employees, for customers, and for shareholders. Interestingly though, most large companies aspire to have a reputation for great employee engagement and exceptional customer service. Only a select few, however, actually manage to earn it. In fact, customer service, employee engagement, and the science and the benefit behind those tremendous cultural dimensions, they remain largely elusive and are actually attained only by some, but admired by most. Well, one such organization who is absolutely doing it right is Chick-fil-A. The largely southern-based fast food restaurant known for its chicken sandwiches has again found itself at the top of the Customer Service Hall of Fame, which is a study published by 24/7 Wall Street and Zogby Analytics. In fact, they come in on that list at number 2, only down from Amazon.com. And the rate at which this organization is growing and developing, chances are it's going to overcome Amazon. For the third year in a row, Chick-fil-A is the only fast food restaurant to ever make such a survey. We have with us today someone who is extremely well positioned to share with us kind of the secret behind Chick-fil-A. Let me introduce Scott Overcarsh to you. Scott is a senior management consultant in the Leadership Development Program and is part of the field operations of Chick-fil-A. He himself has had a tremendous 40-year career, frankly, building Chick-fil-A, and has worked both in the stores, in the field, in headquarters, and has actually owned and operated several restaurants himself. Scott, thank you for joining us today.
It's my pleasure. I appreciate your inviting me.
It's terrific. So to get us started and kind of get right into it, Scott, can you talk to us about the magic of the Chick-fil-A culture, which leads to, I think it's 49 years of annual growth and exceptional employee engagement? How are you guys doing that? We have a lot to learn from Chick-fil-A.
Well, I'd be delighted to share that. And let me tell you, I think it starts with the individual that founded the company, Truett Cathy. He had opened a restaurant in 1946 and ran that one restaurant for 20 years. Wow. Before he created the chicken sandwich, the Chick-fil-A sandwich, and then began the chain, which is now Chick-fil-A. But what happened was, I think in the running that one restaurant, he applied lessons he'd learned as a child growing up in his mother's boarding home, as she was hosting salesmen that were coming and spending the night there. And he learned a lot about hospitality. He used to often say, people go where they're invited, they come back where they're appreciated. And so he applied that wisdom to the running of his restaurant. And then when he opened the chain, he just transferred that that DNA, if you will, into the organization that he created. And let me tell you, he did a great job of making not only customers that came into the restaurants feel appreciated, but he also made the team members that he brought on board, the staff, feel very appreciated as well.
Yeah. And so that's just a tremendous life lesson that he applied, and obviously it's the underpinning of the success of your organization. How, Scott, have you all managed to replicate that culture across so many diverse locations? That's a challenge a lot of organizations have. Is there, a practice or a best practice or something you can share with our audience that, might actually give them something different to focus on? It's very unique what you guys have done.
Well, we spend a lot of time thinking about why we're in business, and we often ask ourselves, well, what has gotten us where we are? What are the things that were important to Truett Cathy those lessons that we need to remember? Because Truett passed away almost 3 years ago in 2014, September 2014, and he left the legacy and the muscle memory, if you will, in the organization to run things the way he would run them. We have a corporate purpose, which is to glorify God by being a faithful steward of all that's entrusted to us and to have a positive influence on all who come in contact with Chick-fil-A. That purpose is the filter through which all of our decisions are run. Is it going to represent good stewardship, and will there be a positive influence as an outcome of what we're about to do? And that's just at the heart of how we think about what we're doing as a business. We're trying to stay relevant in the marketplace, but we're also realize that without the customers that we have, we wouldn't be in business. Truett knew that, and that's why he was so adamant in our being appreciative of those customers. And he says, if we appreciate them, they'll come back. And so the things that we do are geared toward being customer focused and making sure we're having a positive influence in the work that we do.
And so terms like repeatable processes and new hire training or new hire orientation, all of us in corporate America use those terms in order to further, the success of our organizations. How do you at Chick-fil-A manage your approach at so many disparate locations to ensure that new employees are onboarded and the supervisors and store managers are such that they're all kind of inculcated, if you will, into the culture so that it is repeated over and over and over? I mean, for our audience's knowledge, the annual store sales at Chick-fil-A are over $4 million, which tops every other fast food restaurant. And Chick-fil-A only operates 6 days a week. Clearly, you have shown that engaged employees and customer focus works. How do you do it? Is there any other learnings you can share with our audience, Scott? Because it's a tremendous story.
Well, whenever someone joins our organization, they go through a intensive training. There's an orientation that includes a vision and values tour, where we take everybody, put them on a bus, and we take them around to where our organization started. We go to the original Dwarf House in Hapeville, right? and we walk into the kitchen there, and we talk about the things that made that restaurant successful as it was being organized by Truett Cathy and growing through those first 20 years of its existence. And then we take some time. We actually go and visit Truett's gravesite, and we talk about the fact that his life verse was, "A good name is rather to be chosen than great riches." And for Truett, it was not about the financial return. It was about the name that he had and the name that his company had. And so it was more important to do the right thing than maybe the most financially lucrative thing. And so as people come on board, we share those principles. We also, at every new store opening, we gather the new team members, and we have a team dinner. We often incorporate that with a dedication service that is geared toward helping introduce them to our brand. What makes Chick-fil-A Chick-fil-A? We share stories of team members who have sort of embodied the principles and the values of our organization. We encourage them, we welcome them, and we make them feel like they're now part of the family. And then when the store opens, we bring in team members with experience from all over the country that will come and help train those new people. And so we're sort of sharing the history and the culture and the systems on an ongoing basis every time we open a new restaurant.
Yeah, that's terrific. Listen, you just described how you all have absolutely found a way to capture both people's hearts and minds in their contributions and their work at Chick-fil-A, which is, in essence, what most business leaders are trying to do. You all have done it. So congratulations. I mean, it's just a tremendous success story. I'm happy to say I am an ongoing patron and an admirer of your work. Scott, you actually have a book that you're preparing to publish in January called "Is Everybody Happy?" The secrets to a healthier business and a healthier life. Can you talk to our audience a little bit about the book? And is it going to be available on Amazon, or how can they get it? Because I'm sure they're going to want to learn more about how you're all doing it.
Well, I'd be glad to. The book is it's just sort of a memoir of the last 40 years of my experience with this brand. It talks about the principles that the business was founded on. Truett Cathy once said, that he saw no conflict between sound business practices and biblical principles that he felt like were just a guide to how to live life. And so the book just talks about the story of Truett and the development of Chick-fil-A as a brand and how those principles sort of played out over the course of these last 4 decades that I've had the joy to be a part of it. And so my hope is that it'll help folks coming into Chick-fil-A in the years to come to understand how we got where we are. And hopefully it'll be an encouragement to others that would like to have a healthier business and maybe a happier life and perhaps apply some of those principles to their own business and life.
Yeah, without a doubt. I look forward to reading it as well, and encourage all of our listeners to do the same come the January timeframe. Being a purpose-driven leader and focusing on, frankly, doing right versus then being right is something that a lot of leaders are challenged by. Clearly, at Chick-fil-A, you have found the way to demonstrate excellence. So, thank you very much for your time today, Scott.
My pleasure.
I look forward to seeing a Chick-fil-A at some time soon up in northern New Jersey.
Great. I'm sure we'll be there. Just hold on, and we'll look forward to opening in your neighborhood pretty soon.
Will do. Thank you so much. Take care. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
My pleasure.
Thank you for listening to HR Studio Podcast, building the next generation of HR leaders. To download the show notes and discover additional information from this week's episode, please visit hrstudiopodcast.com. To join the conversation, we invite you to visit our LinkedIn group, where you will connect with a growing community of current and future HR leaders.